Hey everybody, we haven't planned this one out tonight, have we? We're just going to go flying off the cuff, so if it's crap, we won't put it up. If it is half reasonable, we might put it up, so we'll just see where we go. How's things with you, mate? You've got a lot going on at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah. So far, and I'm already packed up. I'm already ready to go. I'll most likely leave this weekend or Monday,
Yep.
most likely. So far so good. I'm just ready. I'm just ready to take the road by storm and not look back.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for you because it's a bloody big move, isn't it? So,
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna drive to Florida from New York.
yep.
I'm planning to stop by, if all goes to plan, because apparently with Hurricane Debbie, this hurricane that we have.
Oh, you got a
out here
hurricane
right
coming
now,
in.
Yeah, we have. It's leaving a path of destruction, which is actually down south towards the way I'm gonna be driving. But I'm planning to hit up Lake Shawnee.
Yep.
Lake Shawnee, as probably people won't know, Lake Shawnee is an abandoned amusement park. I want to say it's in West Virginia, Virginia or West Virginia. Our friends over at Forsaken Soul Paranormal, they know very much about it.
Yes, they go there quite regularly, don't they?
Yeah, I'm planning to meet up Mary. We had her on the podcast from Southern Hospitality Paranormal. We're gonna hit up a place called Seven Devils Bridge.
Ooh, interesting.
And then from there, I'm planning to stop by one of the most haunted, or it's dubbed the most haunted city in the United States, which is Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, sweet. All those big homesteads and what have you. Yummy.
Yeah. Savannah, Georgia is, I've seen many wars, many pandemics, not pandemics, but many, sicknesses and all this and that. And then from there, I'll probably make my way just straight down to Florida.
Sweet. We've got it all going on because you're going to be doing the move over the next little bit, next week or two. And then I'm actually hitting the desert next month, and I'll be taking the cameras and a few bits and pieces with me for that one because I've been there before and there are some really cool I'm talking about deserted buildings on the edge of a completely dried up inland sea, which is that big you can actually see the curvature of the earth. It's just desolate. It's massive. And we were there last time. It's actually where they shot Mad Max 2, and if you've seen Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, where they're doing that thing on the top of the big bus, that's shot on this same stretch of road. So if you watch Mad Max 2, you'll get an idea of how desolate this place is. So that's where we're heading, and there's a lot of history there. So I'm hoping along with a lot of history comes a lot of paranormal activity. So I'll be taking a few of the bits and pieces. I can't take everything, but otherwise I'm going to totally blow my weight limit on the plane. So if I wanted to take my laptop would blow the weight limit straight away because it's an old Alienware laptop and it absolutely weighs a ton. It's like a brick. So I won't be taking that. So I'll be doing some phone crosses, just using... probably won't be using TikTok, but I'll do some recordings with the phone, and I'm taking this camera that I'm recording on. So this what you're seeing now is a 1080, and when I do these videos, I'll actually be recording them in 4K. So hopefully there'll be some decent stuff when I get back. So there's a lot going on over the next few weeks, but I thought as a bit of a topic, I know we haven't got a topic as such, but everything that's going on in the world at the moment, the wars, Trump, Biden, what's her face, Carmela, what her name is, and then you got the Russians, you've got the Chinese, you've got all these different things going on. And now I don't know how much people see around the world, but all these riots and everything happen across the UK because of that guy. Well, they say because of that guy that he killed those girls at the Taylor Swifty school camp thing, and it's just blown off into absolute riots over there now. And The reason why it's come to me because I come from the UK, and when I was at my parents' place last night, one of her friends rang her from the UK while we were there, and she said the riots have actually hit my hometown. So that drives it home, and I started looking at these things and then going back through prophecies and things like that, which is always exciting. But then I started looking into, and I'm not a religious person, but started looking into the end times in the Bible and things like that. And they talk about when the Antichrist comes, he will make everyone bear his mark. And they said if you don't bear the mark of the beast, you will be killed. And looking into it's actually quite interesting when you start looking into it, because you think about some of the passages in there and it talks about the mark. Now, nowhere does it say what the mark of the beast is. Everybody assumes it's like a birthmark of a 666, or it's referred to as the name of the beast or the number. Now, when you talk about the number of the beast, right? What do you think? Now, you read a lot of these passages, but you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Yes, but actually, did you know that there's a? Could it be a conspiracy? Could it be considered a conspiracy theory? Because I know you like conspiracy theories, but there is a art form of I guess of the 666. Is it in Hebrew or in some weird language that actually spells out? It looks like. Well, I hope we don't get demonetized, but.
Anyway, we'll hide that quick before anybody else sees it. But yes, what we're talking about now is actually translating some of these passages from the end times of the Bible and Revelations and things like that, and putting it into modern day. So think about this, right? They talk about the number of the beast, right? So everybody knows the famed number of the beast. It's an awesome Iron Maiden song. Speaking of which, we're going to see them live in a couple of weeks. Sorry. Yeah. And what got me interested really in what I was hearing and what over these last couple of days, and especially today, is their description of the Antichrist. Now, they said the Antichrist will be, he will fool everybody. He will be charismatic. You will think he is the best, and everybody will just want to follow him, but you can't, because obviously he's going to lead everybody down the wrong path. Now, where this is leading is it starts talking about it gets to a point where if you don't follow, at some point he will make himself known who he is, and then there will be an option given to every person. So it's still this free will that religion talks about. Everybody has free will. You have free will as to whether you join him and bear his mark, or whether you don't follow him, but then you will be killed. But nowhere does it say he's just going to sort of smite you down or anything like that. The modern take on it is he will make it hard for anybody to live in his world, right? Now, you look at everything that's going on in the banks and everything around the world at the moment, and people are doing it tough. Cash money is getting phased out. I don't know about in America, but over here in Australia, it is getting phased out, and everything is going more towards using your key cards, or using your phone or smartwatch and things like that. Now, the big thing a few years ago was this whole talk about, the RFD, or I those chips that have the information that and implanting them in under your skin. So what they're saying is, yeah. So then all you've got to do is just wave your hand, and then you can pay for things. Now you think about it, is that RFD chip the mark of the devil or the mark of the beast? Because if they're phasing out money, the only way you're going to be able to pay for things is by having one of these chips implanted, which means you're agreeing to the beast himself. If you don't, you won't be able to pay for things, you'll starve, and you're either forced into it or you die. So, and when they talk about the number of the beast, well, all the data and everything on these chips, it's just all numbers. So is that the number of the beast? Yeah?
Yeah. I'm all for technology. I love technology. I studied in college, computer science. I'm all for it. I build computers. I take apart. But there are certain lines that we need to keep technology and us kind of apart. Because once you start combining the two, technology can be easily hacked. Whatever security, whether it's firmware, whether it's a firewall, whether there's always going to be somebody trying to get better, and it's almost like this ladder, like bad versus evil, good versus evil, right? So I myself, I wouldn't do that whole chip thing, because who's not to say, I mean, there's cars with computers in it.
Yes.
Those cars get hacked into all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you won't be able to drive, and you're the one behind the steering wheel.
I had a friend who's actually got one of those new Mustangs, and we went out.
Oh, yeah?
We all went out to dinner a couple of years ago. Him and his partner, me and Lynn, and we were going to drive somewhere else afterwards. My car fired up straight away. He had all kinds of problems with this brand new Mustang. It was only not even a month old at the time, and he ended up having to ring the helpline, the Ford helpline, and they said, "Oh, it's downloading an update, so you have to wait for the update to finish and install before you can start the car." Because it's, how a computer, you can't do anything when it's doing its updates.
Of course.
It's the same with the car. And because we were in Fremantle, his connection wasn't very good, so it was a slow update. So we were there for over an hour waiting for his car to update before he could fire it up. But this is what I'm saying is these little things are starting to sneak into life, which is what they say is the beast embeds himself, and then at some point he will make himself known. So you got to look at all the big people around the world now who are influential and have people following, and some of the obvious ones you kind of got to go no, because the Bible says it's somebody you least expect. He's charismatic, everybody likes him, and it's not until everybody's hooked in that he turns around and he exposes himself. Now, when what you were saying is no, you wouldn't do the RFD chip. I'm not sure what they call them, so I apologize to anybody who's correcting me going, that's an RFI or it's a whatever it is, one of those little chippy things, that you grain of rice that you get put in your hand. If you don't get that, you don't get paid. If you don't get that, you can't catch a train to work or a bus to work. You can't pay your mortgage. You can't buy food. You can't look after your family. Now, while people might be adamant they're not going to do anything, if your family are going without, at some point, you're going to do whatever you need to do to feed your family. Yeah? And that's how they say he gets everybody in. And then at some point, what happens is the big battle happens, the 4 horsemen, the 7 seals, and all of these different things, which I'm not going to go into all of them because I don't like religion and stuff like that. But I find it really interesting that if you look at everything that's happening in the world at the moment, it's all been prophesized in the Bible one way or the other. These are all the different signs to the end times. People always think of Armageddon as some big world-ending thing, but Armageddon is actually a place in the Middle East. Well, it's what in the old ages there was a place in the Middle East that was called Armageddon. So the way it's actually worded is that the devil's army and God's army all come together at Armageddon for the final battle, and obviously it all gets sort of put to the side, and Armageddon becomes a film about asteroids and Bruce Willis and everything. So it's not necessarily an end time thing, but it's interesting how you look at it. Now, there was another film. It's a Stephen King one, and there was an original short, mini series kind of thing, about 3 or 4 movies, called The Last Stand, which is where, and this was set in America, or it started in America, where there was some kind of, and actually it's very eerily similar to the COVID thing. They were working with diseases in a military compound, and then there was a breakout, and they tried to lock everything down, but one of the guards took off, but he'd already been exposed, and of course then it went through the world, wiping everybody out. And then you had the old lady that everybody was seeing on one side of the country who's good, and then everybody was seeing this red-eyed demon fella who happens to reside in Las Vegas, and he was obviously the devil. And it's the same kind of thing. Everything ends up, whoever's left gets split into these 2 groups who end up battling it all out and stuff. And they actually redid it and made a TV series about it. One of the Skarsgård brothers is in that, and he plays the bad man. But a lot of what is happening now has been discussed. You look at the wars, right, that are happening around the world, especially the one over in Israel and everything. That's all around the Holy Land and stuff, you know what I mean? So you can look at that every which way you want. Then you got these battles between Russia, the Ukraine, and of course everybody else is backing the Ukraine. And now we've got, obviously, China starting to step it all up, and everybody reckons we're only about 3 years away from war with China. I mean, nobody knows for sure. It might all fizzle away, but I don't think so. And there's a lot of prophecies about, and they talk about the red rising. And do you take that as the red, as in a devil's face? The red, or do you take it as the red flag of communism? Well, not specifically communism, but China's flag's red. But everybody sees communism as the Reds and things like that. So you tie into it all of these different things. At the end of the day, we're basically already living in the end times.
I would agree. And about the chip being planted, the FDR, FDI, whatever it is.
I'm sure it's RFD, but I should have looked it up. I told you we didn't plan this. I should have looked that bit up, but
no. But I did tell you I'm a great conversation keep-upper. But who's not to say that we didn't just go through that? Because when you were describing, the chip, you cannot get paid, you cannot buy certain things, you cannot go places. But we went through that already with COVID. If you didn't have the vaccine, if you didn't have this freaking card, here in the States, you lose your job. You're not able to fly. You're not able to do anything. So who's not to say that we already went through that, because it is apparently, I'm not going to say I'm religious. I do believe in a higher power. I just don't believe that it's the higher power that is being portrayed by my upbringing.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
But out of curiosity, in the Bible, I just flipped straight to the Revelations because that's like the best story.
Yeah.
And then
don't get me started.
And then there are a lot of different things that you see that is happening. all these wars, by the way, even North Korea going to Taiwan, and like they're all over the place. What's going on with that? You mentioned it was in Britain that they unalived three little girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's like all of these wars that, even I want to say in Venezuela, that also there's been crazy stuff going down in South America. um there's just so much hatred and negativity all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's makes you wonder, not so long ago, people at the beach, I cannot recall which beach was it. I know it was, either here in the States. Anyway, there was a flock of dragonflies. Like,
Yes, we saw that
yeah,
over here on the news.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just, it's so many things that you actually read that I actually read. It's that it's crazy. I mean, I do believe that Armageddon isn't that just one day we're all just going to be gone.
It's supposed to last
But it is,
7 years, and then it leads up to Armageddon.
yeah. I do believe that is a chain of events
Mm-hmm.
that is going to basically wipe out,
A good percentage.
most
Yeah.
of society.
Well,
So, yeah.
here's another thing, just to throw something at you as well. When you talk about the God, everybody says no one should have the power to create life except God. Right? Now, obviously, that's not taken into account, obviously, women having children and things like that. But we as men or humans shouldn't be, well, like cloning and stuff, creating, Dolly the sheep, and that they reckon they have the technology now to clone people and stuff like that. That is creating life, yeah?
It's creating life.
Now let me
Or
let me throw you something.
bootleg version of life.
Now let me throw something else at you. AI. Is AI life? Because
Artificial intelligence, I mean, it's a computer that thinks for itself. So technically speaking, what is considered a human life? And most people, especially with this whole abortion topic, a human life is, you're
sentience.
human when you have consciousness.
Yeah. Now you
So
think about this, right? So you have AI is invented to make things easier now, and they can't. I mean, I battle every day with Google when it's trying to ask you for a message to send on while you're driving in your car. It reads you your message, and it always gets it wrong when you read it back. But AI is getting smarter, right? At some point, if it hasn't already happened, AI becomes sentient, and then it has feelings, it has its own personality, it makes its own conclusions, it thinks for itself. Obviously, it takes what it needs to survive and things like that. That is sentient life. If we have created that, we've already broken like the rules of God and stuff like that. Now, AI also can control every computer, every electronic device, which the modern world is almost 100% reliant on now. There are still enclaves of people around the world who don't do this, and they're the ones that are going to pull through anything that really happens, because there was a TV show years ago called Revolution where the power went out. Yeah, it's a good one.
yeah, that's a really good.
Yeah, but that's what we're facing now. Here's the kicker for it all. What if AI itself is the Antichrist? It controls those unnamed chips that we don't know the name of. It can cut you off if it wants to. Yeah? It can control your finances. It can control your life. And the way they are going now with the military and everything, it's going to control the weapon systems of the world. You know what we're talking about? Skynet.
Actually, I've long said that we need to make an episode talking about the top 10 ways the human civilization will cease to exist. And I recall seeing this video.
AI is right up there.
AI is like number 2 or 3.
Mm.
And they did compare it to Terminator.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's a scary thought.
It is. And, you know, man, like...
How far away are we from AI going, humans are the problem? Exactly like in the show Terminator. It sees all humans as the problem and the weak link. So they have to go. How close are we to that now? And if you think about this, right? God created man and created man in his image. Yeah? And then you think about the other way. Now man creates AI, which is the exact opposite of God creating man. Man has now created AI. That's the exact opposite. So it's God, anti-God, anti-Christ.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense the way you put it.
And
it makes a lot of sense.
And ultimately, we are all going to be slaves to AI eventually, because we can't live without it. We've created our own downfall.
See, Steve Jobs, what he started.
Well, I know you can tie so many different things into this, because the computer revolution started after Roswell, so are the aliens involved as well? So, you know, maybe that was the master plan, is rather than Independence Day alien invasions that we see, they came and gave us just enough technology that we'd do ourselves in, and they come and inherit the earth without any fight at all.
Well, you know what? I know we started off this whole podcast with, with not a topic, but I think that is by far the best for you.
It's mind-bending, and like I said, for anybody who is watching this, because I know our numbers have dropped off quite a bit recently, but if you do watch this, just look it up. Just look up Revelations, and there's plenty of videos on that, and look into what's going on in the world now, and you will find so many similarities that it will scare you. I only ate half of my apple at lunchtime today. It affected me that much. No, not really. Nothing puts me off my food usually, so as you can see.
You know, an apple a day keeps the doctors away, yeah.
Well, it depends on the apple, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know.
And you know,
you have me over here thinking, like, you know what? I think I'm gonna, when I drive to down to Florida, I think I'm gonna see if I can rent the oldest vehicle possible.
1962 Buick. Big plumes of smoke behind you, but I'm safe. Terminator's not getting me. Boo.
Oh,
No,
not today.
No. On that, we've already done our time, so think about the end times. Think about what we've had to say. Look into it and let us know what you find. Comment, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff. And we, over the next few weeks, we have some really interesting videos coming out, which you're going to get to see. But also, we're gonna try and pre-record a few so that you don't notice when Fernando's doing his move and when I'm doing the desert trip. And then by the time you realise what's going on, it should continue straight through, and you should have some nice videos to watch. So I'm sure Fernando's going to take some footage while he's on his road trip.
For sure.
And I'll definitely be doing a fair bit out in the desert. So,
most likely I'll upload them on TikTok, Strangers Minds TikTok, and you guys will see everything.
Awesome. It's going to be cool. Anyway, I think it's time to go. So on that note,
don't let the sleep tight. Don't let the AIs bite.
No, don't. And just think about it, AIs can actually turn your alarms off as well, so you don't wake up until late and then you miss things. And oh, this is such a good topic. We should have actually done it. We might actually do this one again, but for proper, where we actually do a little bit of research on it. So I'm only going off what I've read and what I've seen over the last few days, and obviously tying that in with what I know about prophecies and obviously what's going on in the world at the moment. And it's a scary place to live, but unless we all stand up and do something about it, there's not much individually we can do, but as a group we can.
Actually, as far as algorithm is concerned, every word we speak is being uploaded, and we hit a lot of topics that is very controversial, very popular, very trending. I mean, even mentioning the word Trump, Biden, Harris, Trump, Biden, Harris, Trump, Biden, Harris.
But
it's gonna get traction.
Yeah, well, I mean,
traction.
Here's one for you. If we, and I know this is not going to happen, but when we get 1 million views on this video, you will know the end times are here.
They'll be like, "Damn, what kind of
podcast
did I get?"
I am gonna absolutely die tomorrow when this goes to air, and we have a look, and it's got over 1 million views. And go, shizen.
Yeah.
Notice I did that in a German language so that the algorithm hopefully doesn't. But if it's AI, it can already translate that. So you can't even swear in a different language. We are totally screwed. Huh?
That's it.
We're done. Bye bye AI. It's time to go.